In the case of 3-year-old Nailani Rayshawn, you are not. In the case of 1-year-old Kambella Kenneth, you are not.
Run, bitch! Run!
When it comes to 3-year-old Kanaya Baran, you are not.
Oh my God!
Okay, when it comes to 2-year-old AJ Colin, you are not.
Be gone, sucks!
Get out the way, get out the way,
Sucks!
get out the way,
Be gone, sucks!
get out the way, get out the way,
Sucks!
get out the way.
Be gone, sucks!
When it comes to 7-month-old Shannon Brian, you are not.
Got a family to feed, got a family to feed. They depending on me, they depending on me. If you don't believe,
The 4-year-old Brandon Michael, you are not.
we the boys.
When it comes to 6-week-old Lyric Tremaine, you are not.
I got broads in Atlanta, just to convene the family. Credit cards and scammers.
Hi guys, welcome back to Trash It. We have got your usual host on this panel today, and we've got Mr. Jagwajantics with us today. So we've got Mr. Jagwajantics in the mask as usual. We've got Funshaw, we've got Ajike, and then we've got Yori. So again, you should already know these guests because they are usual guests on the show. The topic we're going to be talking about today is I am not the father. Okay, so social media has been blowing up for a few weeks now. Things are coming out, DNA tests are coming out. Unfortunately, men are finding out that they're not the biological father to the children who they've been looking after for years, children they've loved and nurtured as their own. But unfortunately, they're finding out that they're not the biological father, and surely that must hurt. Okay, so I'm going to come to Funshaw and Mr. Jagwajantics, right? Now, let's set a scenario, right? So you're both married. Everybody on this panel is married, which makes this topic even great. So Funshaw, Mr. Jagwajantics, you're both married. You're in a gathering of very close friends, right? And these are friends that you all grew up together, and your wives know each other, your children know each other, beautiful family and whatnot, close relationship. And then all of a sudden, you're in this gathering, and one of your friends says that actually, I just found out that I am not the father of my 2 children. Yeah, and this guy is your close friend. His wife and your wife are friends. They do everything together. And he says to you guys, I've just found out that I'm not the father of my 8-year-old and my 9-year-old children, because my wife, I did a DNA test and I found out. So how would that make you feel as men? Would you start to suspect and think, am I the father of my children? Even though you know that you are the father, but would that make you start thinking? Funshaw, let me come to you first. How would that make you feel? Would it change anything?
In my own case, maybe I'll be disappointing you here. It won't change my own case because of the closeness between me and my wife, because of how much I know my wife. Okay, it's difficult, but I don't think it's going to change anything because me and my wife will practically almost do everything together. She's like my best friend. So I don't know. I know some people will still say she'll still find a way around to do things like that. But it doesn't raise any red flag with me unless I see reasons why I have to suspect probably she's not faithful, or she has been doing things in the past that I didn't like, or things that could actually make me start to think or doubt the paternity of my children. But as we speak right now, it won't raise any red flag with me.
No. So it's not going to make you want to say, you know what, may I just do this DNA test? Let me just be 100% sure that these children are mine.
Nah, For me, right now at this moment, no. Until I start suspecting things, probably started going late nights, like for us now, there's no passwords on our phones. Even there are passwords, but I know hers, she knows mine. No, we do a lot of things together. So until I start seeing reasons why I should doubt the paternity of my children, it's not going to raise anything with me.
Okay. Mr. Jawudantics, let me come to you. What would you think?
Well, me, my orientation is different. I'm an African man and I'm gonna be so real and natural. I'm human. I'm very, very human, you know. Considering what I've seen from a very close family friend that similar thing happened to, who were very close, you know, we that were younger than them, we see them as role model, the kind of love they had, as close they were, and all those things. And this thing still happened. So it could happen to anybody. I've seen couples who are fantastic in their relationship, having extramarital affair over the phone with somebody they dated in school that was just magical, and they couldn't cut ties. And one could tell that if they have the opportunity to just be together behind closed doors for once, both of them, there is no way they'll be able to say no. So why I said that is not because she doesn't love her husband or her husband doesn't love her. It's just that there has been a fire that wasn't quenched from somewhere from before. Now, I know people who are here who just broke out of a relationship and met Mr. Wonderful, the most wonderful man in the world, and they married, not knowing that they were coming into that relationship with a fresh pregnancy that they got for the ex-boyfriend. And they started sleeping with each other, and they gave birth. And this guy thought he is the father of that boy, not knowing that that boy belonged to the ex-boyfriend. Until today, as we speak, the ex-boyfriend knows, the husband doesn't know, and they have other kids. And me, I know, because she told me. But this is not her fault. This is not the man's fault. This is not the ex-boyfriend's fault. This is just reality knocking them out. Now, as a man, when I'm looking at what happened to that uncle, and I'm looking at what has happened around, I'm like, hold on a minute. Yes, this daughter looks exactly like my mother. It's as if my mother vomited her. And this, my son, looks like my father. Even like my own self. I'm looking at my picture as a baby and I'm looking at my son, and he's my replica. It's like I vomited him. But the human in me will be telling me, Uncle Shegun may be feeling the same thing. But in the end, the baby wearing, all the kids wearing his. So it is just human to feel like that. Between you and I'm telling you guys, I have felt like that many times, like going to do it behind my back. But I love my money too much. I wouldn't put my 180 pounds down for something like that, because the trust hasn't really been breached for me to say, my 200 pounds, yay, just to check 2 kids. So it is human to feel like that. But the love in you will be telling you, no, there's no way she could have done that. There's no way she could have done that. That's my feeling, no. That is my feeling.
But do you think, Mr. Jabudantis, do you think it has anything to do with love, though? Like, you want to know, you just want to do a DNA test. So what's it got to do with love? It doesn't mean you love her any less, but you just want to satisfy your conscience.
Exactly. It's like a thirst. It is like a thirst. It's like you're seeing that alcohol drink on your table and you don't want to drink no more. But the spirit in you is saying, grab it. It's just a gulp, just like this. But that gulp can lead to so many things. That 90 pounds that you pay for DNA test can open a lot of things that you are not even ready to see. So, I'm just thinking, I just took my mind off, because the more you think, the more the thing pushes you to do it. But the woman, on the other hand, will be disappointed hearing that you want to do that, But the same people who betrayed their husband too, they too would have said the same thing. You know, I don't have all the time. I would have shared the story with you, but I will wait till there is time. If you permit me to go on, then I'll share.
Okay, Yuri and Ajike, this is for you, right? If your husband came to you and said, I want a DNA test, what would you do? What would you say? How would that make you feel? Yuri, let me come to you first.
I'd be disappointed because I would want to ask what has kind of necessitated or made him think that way. What was given you the inclination that our child is not yours? Why would you want to have a DNA test? Was there something that you saw, or was there something that I did? It will break my trust, because you know what, invariably you're telling me that you think I cheated on you and I was so stupid enough to keep the pregnancy, and you don't think our child is our child. So I will give you the benefit of doubt, but trust me, I very much doubt that our relationship would last longer, because for one, I'm a very trusting person in any of my relationship. And for you to break that trust, for my sanity, I would not invest in that relationship anymore, because you've broken that trust. It will take me forever to be able to trust you again. And I don't think I have it in me to trust you again. So if you do want a DNA test, you must tell me why you want one, and I will satisfy your curiosity. And once that curiosity has been satisfied, then we need to reassess the relationship that we're in, because I don't see why we need to continue. You don't trust me, invariably, because tomorrow you're going to come tomorrow and then accuse me of something I've not done. If, for instance, now you met me with another man, you should even ask if the house we're living in is yours. You have the right then to ask me, am I still in a relationship? Is the child mine? Is this, is that? It's valid. But if there's no reason for you to ask me that, and for your own insecurity, you want to find out if the child is, the problem is then you. So there's no point, because you don't trust me.
But Yuri, don't you think people would argue that it's only a DNA test, just give it? It doesn't mean anything. He just wants to be sure.
Not just
if the tables were turned and you were in his position, would you not just want to know the answer and forget about it?
Okay, if the tables were turned, that means someone has come to us and said, you father a child with me.
So let's assume he was in that scenario where in the beginning, where Funke and Mr. Jagojantix were, and maybe his friend that he trusts and he knows, right, comes up and says, oh, I just found out that my 2 children are not mine. And he was there when that happened. And the man really trusted the wife wholeheartedly. Yeah.
You can't be projecting your insecurity over a situation that's not happening. What you are referring to is something that happens in Jagbatan's friend's life. So you don't even know, you don't have the full picture. For instance, the woman in question might actually be a serial cheat. And the husband has now come to realization that the hoishness in her is come out and has delivered 2 children. You cannot blame me for another woman's problem. So if you now come to me with your, because it's, well, I wouldn't say insecurity now, it's you now not trusting me. So if anyone were, if the roles were reversed and I found out that my husband's friend has given birth to another child, there's a physical child to test. In your case, as a man, it will be a woman coming to me and knocking on my door and say, okay, Mr. Gbata has given, we were in a relationship and this child is his. And he will say, no, it's not my child. Okay, it's not your child. Let's do DNA so that we can know that it's not your child. But this is me, your wife. You're telling me that you don't think that our child is your child. What is the reason? What have I done?
So Yuri, if you were a man, right? If you were a man and you heard something like that, and you want your wife to give you a DNA test just to satisfy your conscience. Because the thing is, unfortunately, that's why the Bible says we should guard our ears, we should guard our eyes, what we see and what we hear. Because once our brains gets poisoned with those things, right? It becomes really difficult for us to get over it. It becomes really difficult for us to put it aside. And even though with what Funsho has said, with what Mr. Jabba and what you have said, you might think, oh, okay, let me try and put it aside. But it's hard because it will continue to be in your mind. It will continue to be in your mind. And then the mind is a very dangerous place, because then you will now start thinking, so that night that she didn't come back earlier, me and her had a little argument, and I was like, oh, where were you? I was with my friend, and she was with this girl, this man's wife now that I've now found out that the husband is not the father. And then you start adding 1 and 2 together, and things start adding up. Some things you never even thought about before. So now you're thinking, let me just check.
If I were a man, Celia, I don't need your permission to go and do this DNA on my children. If they
okay, so wouldn't that even be worse? Now let's look at it, because
you
know
never
what?
find out.
You know what? Let me tell you this, right? So would you prefer that the man went, because when me and my husband were having this discussion yesterday, and I was just like, in my head, I'm thinking, listen, if I'm a man and I want to find out if I'm the father of my children, I would not even tell my wife. I would do the DNA test. When they give me the results of the test in that lab, now there I go read them, I go tear them, put them inside dustbin, and that's the end. I will take it to my grave. But now, let's assume you found out about it, right? You are the wife and you found out about it. Wouldn't you have preferred for your husband to discuss it with you and say, babes, I want us to do a test? Or would you have preferred him to just gone and done it by himself without telling you?
Personally, I would prefer, as long as there's no basis for you to think that I have. If I cheated now, Celia, you should accuse me with this. You should be man enough to say, hold on, you've been man enough to say, okay, Yori, you have done this and I feel this way. And for me to absolve myself of this silliness or this stupidity that you've done, let's do a DNA test. You've got legs to stand on. If I were a man and the thing about it, would it even change anything if you find out the children are not yours?
It could change a lot. Okay.
In that instance, then the man should think about what he intends to get from this DNA test. If you know that you're going to walk away, then you've got justification to do a DNA test. If you want to fight for the children, why don't you just raise the children as yours?
Okay, fair enough. But Ajike, before I come to you, I'm going to go to Mr. Jagwajantis. But Mr. Jagwajantis, before I come to you, let me just say, it's good, right? It's interesting. I know it might not, for some people, it might not make a lot of difference, right? But now let me say, for some men, it makes a lot of difference. Because if I was a man, I would like to know that the children I've been raising for the last 20 years or the last 15 years or even the last 5 years, thinking that they're my children, I would like to know that they are really my children and not another man's children. Because which means I really don't have any children biologically. When it be say I'm not a priest that don't want to have children, I actually want to have children, but unfortunately now I don't have any children, and then I'm in my 60s or 50s. It's now I want to start thinking of having my own biological children.
Can I just say something before you go to Jagwajantis? Sorry, Jagwajantis. In the case that you've mentioned, there was a case here. I'll try and look for the case law and send it to all of you. It was a man that he didn't know that the children were not his until something happened magically down the line and found out the children were not his. He charged the woman to court. And the court ruled in favor of the supposed not the father. That, look, you've raised these children all your life. You are entitled to call these children your children. So it's an unfortunate situation in the sense that, okay, fine, someone's life is totally wrecked. Someone that you've been calling your daughter. They're not biologically your daughter, but they're still your daughter. So personally, if Mr. Gbada feels that the child is not his, if that's his own feeling, to satisfy his security, he should go and do the DNA test, but not involve me.
Okay. Mr. Jagwa, let me come to you.
I'll be very brief. You see those DNA results that we see coming forth, there have been no sign or traces or evidence of them cheating. They were the most wonderful wives in the world. Not until there is an issue of these kids were denied visa. What are they talking about? They're mad. When I slam them DNA in the face, they will know what's up. That's the case of the uncle I mentioned earlier on. My friend that we're living together, he was a controller in a cab office, and one of the cab drivers was trying to bring the children to London. And that's when he was like, I'm going to slam them DNA test to prove that these kids are mine. That is when the result came out. So most of the DNA results we're seeing here and there flying out up and down is not because the wives were wayward or there was a sign or there was this reason to doubt them. No, they were the most wonderful wives. No signs of cheating until the DNA slams them in the face, bam, and then they're shocked. So men who do it and find out that, oh, my wife is clean, they don't bring it to the wife. You will never find out. They will start being very nice to you because now forever they think, yes, my wife is straight. I'll be, that's it. That's where I'm going to stop.
Yeah. Ajike, let me come to you.
For me, I wouldn't mind if he does the test, just as he's going for the test, and the test is the child is his own. That money for the test, he will give me my equivalent. That's my own. But you know, one of the reasons why this thing is very, very prevalent, I would say, is infertility and the culture behind infertility in Nigeria. When you are married 1 year, 2 years, belle never big. Like some Nigerians, in fact, I know some marriages that have ended in 1 year because the girl did not have any children. Some people go as far, you know, the pressure is so much. I'm not trying to excuse the behavior, but I think one of the factors is infertility. Then some people even go, you know, I don't know, even these days now, there's the donor egg, donor sperm thing is becoming very rampant. So I think some people can explain that away at the embassy if they have papers, because a child does not have to be biologically your own before you can travel with the child. But infertility makes it very, very easy. You see people, you hear where people are saying that the gate man is the father of the children, the driver is the father of the children, because you know, the man's family is making life difficult for the woman. She's just like, oh, I beg, because we are all different. Our strengths are different. Some people can withstand, you know, the pressure of, you know, people can wait 15 years. They will not be. In fact, I read one recently. This is even reverse. The woman had a maid. I think I'll send you the story. Maybe we even talk about it. She had a maid, and the maid gave birth to 5 children in the house. She had been married for 15 years. Those 5 children were for her husband. Because at the 15th year, maybe the man had promised the girl that the wife will leave. One day, she just became rude to the madam. The madam, now you supposed to leave for me. Now me tell now, your guy get all these children. They were living in the PQ. You know, so they were just saying that because she was very good, and the woman, because she didn't have children, she was accommodating that, okay, you have children, okay, come, let them be in the house, we'll take care of them, you just go there, you know. And the 5 children were for her husband. This man is a deacon, according to her, or a pastor in a church in Nigeria. Yes, I will send you the story.
Jesus.
On one of the Instagram pages I follow. So it's a two-way thing. It's not just about men. It's also it's happening to some women. So now, how do you want that woman to feel? In fact, the woman, from what I could be, she was ready to commit suicide. But she was like, after 15 years, where do I want to start from? This man had given me hope that we will fight this infertility matter through. There's another person I know. When she was getting married, her husband's family, maybe a pastor or somebody, told them that she would face infertility, which she did. But you know what the story was, that she would bring a bastard. But you know, this God, well, just like the Agbadantis, they say this child looks like the husband. It looks like all the family. And so they said she slept with the brother or one of the brothers to have the child. But the child looks like them. You know, so for me, I don't have a problem. You take the child to do DNA. And if I don't, except I don't know, but if I know, because I know that my child is from my husband, he will give me that money, that same equivalent of money. I don't know how much they're doing it in Nigeria. If it's 500,000, you must give me that 500,000. Because that means, when you alone, you want to go and spend money, give me the money. That's just my own. I mean, I don't have any problem. You can go and test everybody. Test if I can. You can follow me and test if I'm still your wife. You can follow. But also that you're giving me back the equivalent of the money. So that's just my own thing.
The thing is, for me, I know I can understand how a lot of women will find this very, very offensive, and oh, you don't trust me, and you don't, you know, where's this going and all of that. But for me, when I look at the whole scenario, when I look at the whole situation, this is not something that would just go away, right? Unfortunately, when that seed is sown in that man's mind, and he starts to suspect that this child is not my child, no longer be the same in a way. Yeah, that's what I think. Because if he's already suspecting that child, and maybe if the child is not a spitting image of the man, right? Because you remember the story that came out, Mr. Jagodanti, you sent it to me, and the children were not spitting images of the man. They were so light-skinned and he was dark-skinned. But we can argue that the mother is light-skinned, or they're taking the genetics from other members of the family and all of that. But the children and the father were so different. Like, it was quite shocking, you know. So sometimes for me, I just feel like you should just pick, as a wife, I would pick my battles, right? Because I know that if I do not satisfy his conscience of he wants to know whether those children are his own or not, things might not be the same, in the sense that, okay, he might still love the children, but he might not love them 100%, because regardless of how we might look at it, there's a difference between how you would love your children that you know it's your blood, your biological children, plus how you would know that, oh, okay, this child now is not my own. This child is my own.
I give kudos to people that use donor eggs and donor sperm. Honestly, kudos to them. I always say it. I've walked the streets of infertility twice. And, you know, I can remember going to a doctor last year and was telling me, you already old, you use donor egg. I told myself, oh, God, please hold it. Because I know that if I use donor egg and they bring, two things will happen. I will not like that child, but my husband will like him because that child is his own child. It will cause rifts between the one I already have and this new one. So it's better we don't have another one. Let that one stay there. Yeah, I'm not ready. So, you know, people who actually go ahead to use donor eggs and donor sperm, honestly, I give it to them 100%. And it's very popular in Nigeria, much more popular than we actually believe that we are. Yeah, it is.
Mr. Jagdan, you're going to say?
So, Nollywood is also not helping our women, in the sense that they are not doing enough to educate people about things like mild autism or Down syndrome or all those things. These kids are not aliens. They don't come from heaven or fall from the sky. It is human beings like us that give birth to them. When people now have these kids in Nigeria, you hear things like, we don't usually have this in our family. Maybe this child is a bastard. We need to take this to the family oracle. The family oracle will tell us, if they bring bastard into this family, it will be like that. If it is our child, it will not be like that. It will be healthy. Now, the husband will start doubting. I need to do DNA test. That child may not be mine. There's never been history of so in our family, of which it may be troubled birth. They may have messed up with the head of the child when they were trying to pull the baby out from the womb of the mother. So many things could have caused a child acting differently, which they will outgrow with time. You know, I have this auntie who gave birth to her son at 6 months. They basically put that baby in an incubator till the baby grew to the time when they could release him to be taken home. And the child was autistic. He couldn't talk for like 7 years, and he was always hyper, behaving differently. But this guy right now, he's extra intelligent. He's grown up now. He's about 17 or 18. He knows all the names of the footballers in Europe and UK, their age and everything. I don't know one. You know, he's that intelligent. Now, in Nigeria, the father would have been like, this child is not mine. I need to do DNA test, this and that. So there is a lot of educating that our society needs to do to help our girls and help our men to build trust between one another. It's a very hard thing to do, but we need to do it. It has to be done.
Can I just ask, so given how rampant this thing is becoming now, okay, do we think, or would we agree for hospitals now to just do DNA tests as a normal check, just the way they do blood tests to check genotype and all those kind of things?
You want to cause war? You want to cause war? Everybody is saying, I can't stand it. I'm trustworthy. I'm this. I'm that. I will not take it. You want to cause war? There will be disaster. You will see blood. Head will roll. No.
You see, you would actually be breaching a lot of human rights. You can't do that for a fact. That one is because it's got nothing to do with the hospital. They need to stay in their own lane. See, women, there's a reason where, and I'm a woman too, there's a reason where the snake went to meet Eve. Women can be very cunning. And at times, it's of late, I think for some reason, a lot of married women have lost their moral compass. There's a lot of infidelity amongst married women, and this careless attitude of I can do whatever I can do. It's a major problem that has brought this to light. Now, there's unverified statistic that says in Lagos, Nigeria, at least 40% of married women are cheating. They're not cheating with ghosts. They're not cheating with ghosts. They're cheating with another married man. So if you're comfortable to sleep with a married woman that is in someone's house, I bet you for why. The chances are they're smooshing your wife somewhere. So who the hell are you to be asking for DNA? Are you not depositing your nonsense outside? So you that can dish it out, because that's the thing with men. You can't dish it out, but you can't take it. We've seen where men have collapsed and killed themselves because the children are not theirs. Instances are we've seen where men have brought children that are not ours home, and we've accepted your bastards. So please, what exactly is the problem? No, hold on.
There is no time that a man has forced a child on the woman, like you gave birth to this child. This is your child. No, this is my child from outside.
But do you understand that?
Sorry, I did it. But it is not like, no, you gave birth to this child. This is your child for the past 15 years. Two different things.
I know of a family right now that their dad passed and they're planning a burial. Unfortunately, a man has come forward to be this man's child. Is older than the current family's first child that they didn't know about. So the way you dish out betrayal is the way these women are now dishing out betrayal. Unfortunately, you cannot take the pain. That's the problem. I'm not giving women a pass. Do you understand? We have a situation right now where the husband is unwell. We understand the husband went to the hospital, and when they did test, the wife was heavily pregnant, and the doctor was curious and found out, how can you be pregnant? Your husband's internals have got female parts. Yeah. So essentially, in his inner parts, there are people we call, with the lack of better word,
hermaphrodites.
Hermaphrodite.
Oh, okay.
So internally, intersex, thanks. So internally, you're a woman, but externally, you're a man. So all the children that this man has were not his.
So didn't the man know?
The man didn't know.
Oh, okay.
So the wife said, well, we've been married for 7 years and I've done my test. There's nothing wrong with me. And the first one I did was a mistake. And I knew from that end onwards that you're not able to make a woman pregnant. So what I've done is cover the shame of our family. So the women that take it upon themselves.
That's what Ajike was talking about. That's exactly what Ajike was talking about.
So there's some women that are taking upon themselves that, okay, you can't give, but I can go out there and get these children.
But why don't you discuss it though?
Without my consent.
Exactly. Why don't you discuss
it?
There are some people, they gave consent to the wife to go get pregnant.
That's a different thing.
But you know what? Some people give consent, but then when the shit hits the fan, they will not start acting as if they didn't know. Because they will be too embarrassed to say, I allowed my wife or I gave consent to my wife to do it.
Why should they put their stories out there in the first place when you know you had something, you know?
You see, the thing is, for me, right? It's only a woman that knows who the real father of her child is, right? It is only a woman who knows the real, because for me, if my husband should say, yeah, I want a DNA test, you know what's in? It's fine. Do a DNA test. If you like, do. I think for me though, the only thing is, I want to know that you want to do it. I think I'll feel more upset if you did it behind my back. Just tell me, because I'm not going to have a problem with it, because I know the child is your child. The only time I will have a problem with it is if I know the child is not your child, or if I'm not sure. And say, okay, it might be yours, so it might not be yours, so I'm not sure. Like, I think I sent it to you, Mr. Jago. I was watching a video yesterday where this woman or this girl, she lives in Italy with her husband, right? She went to Nigeria, got to Nigeria and slept with her father-in-law, right? And now she's not sure whether the pregnancy is for her husband though, or whether it's for her father-in-law. She went to Nigeria July last year, right? End of July last year. Before she left, she had sex with her husband. She got to Nigeria July. She had sex with her father-in-law. She was in Nigeria till December. Now she's not sure who the father of the child is. Okay, so
that one is no big deal.
So imagine that one now. The husband now says, "I want a DNA test." You think that woman will give DNA test? She will scatter everywhere and say, "Oh, you don't love me."
So the result will be the same. The result will be the same.
No, it will not be the same.
I thought every DNA was different.
It's different. It will
be
show
different.
that they are related, but that's not the father.
Exactly, because
It
all
should be like
DNAs, no two DNAs are the same, right?
It's true, though. It's true. What about that father? What about that father that didn't like the wife of his son?
I saw that.
Wanted to do DNA, and then found out that he is not even the father of the boy he's trying to defend.
Of the boy.
You know, they said people should
Wahala
not
be
be
like
rude.
bicycle.
People should not be rude to their gatesman and their drivers. For all you know, they might be your fathers.
Exactly. See, the thing is, for me, I think on this show, I'm a very big advocate for married women. Keep it in your pants. See, the thing for me is, I don't care how some people might come and say, yeah, if the man can cheat, why can't the woman cheat? I'm just saying my own, and I will continue to say what I want to say, because at the end of the day, you are a woman, right? You are the one that will open your leg like this for a man to go inside. So why don't you I just feel as women, we should preserve our dignity more than anything else. Forget the fact that, okay, you're the role model for your female daughters and blah, blah, blah. But for yourself as a woman, you are married. Do you understand? Just have more respect for yourself. If your husband decides to hoe around, I don't think you should follow the same. So now, as a married woman, you've gone and you've slept with another man, right? The man has sex with you. He ejaculates inside of you. And you know what happens when that happens, when those two things happen, right? You know that there's a possibility that you're going to get pregnant. So you could not go and take care of yourself, like maybe take the morning after pill. You now remain there, yeah? And allowed yourself 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you know you're married, and then you now want to pass the child off as your husband's child. How can a woman be that wicked? How can a woman be that wicked?
Sometimes it's not planned. Celia, sometimes it's not planned.
What do you mean it's not planned? So you want to tell me a woman does not know that when she allows a man to come inside of her, she's going to get pregnant? There's a possibility that she'll get pregnant.
So I know. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not defending them. I'm not saying what they did is right or wrong or whatever. But what I'm trying to say when I say it's not planned is, fine, you might do it now. You might take the morning after pill. But if the person is a serial cheat that always goes back to do the top up, you might be thinking you're in a safe period and you wouldn't know. The sperm lasts up like, I think 48 or 72 hours in the body. And you think, oh, I'm in my safe period, but you don't know that the ovulation is already knocking on the door. And before you know it, you are pregnant. And maybe around that stage, your husband did.
Okay, you know, found out.
Is abortion an option?
Kind of thing, you will be taking, you will find you see the contraceptive, even though it's like that.
No.
Really.
Abortion is not an option.
When they say Achike is advocate for abortion, that kind of situation, you can't. I don't know.
See, abortion.
I'm not teaching you about things.
Okay, here we go.
Let me say something. And maybe because I had fertility issues, I'm not an advocate of it's a woman's choice. If she wants to keep a baby, she's allowed. She should be the one to make that decision. But there are instances where people have been unfortunate to get pregnant in a circumstance, in situations like this, and in their own marital home, it couldn't happen. So the one chance you have, you think, of having a child has not come from a normal way, but your indiscretion. Would you then abort that child that you've wanted all your life?
No, I wouldn't abort the child. But what I would do,
but the person should be truthful and tell the guy that, okay, sorry, these are the
Thank you. That's what I would do.
Exactly.
That is what I would do.
Should be, if you're woman enough to cheat, you should be woman enough to bear the consequences and tell the person that
own it with your chest. With all your chest, own it and tell him, I did it. So let's just take it as a donor egg. Go yeah, now let's be going.
So you guys are being sentimental now.
No, you go back and knock
the story to it. The story is the fertility story. Now let's talk about no fertility issues. You have had 2 or 3 kids already. You have had 4 kids already, and you still went to do outside.
Yeah. So
There are no sentiments. Will you still keep it?
No, I'm saying, if you are doing that kind of thing, you should be smart enough. You should be smart enough to have a contraception or
Those
whatever.
things
I don't know.
happen.
I'm not doing
Sometimes
it.
those things fail. Ajike, they fail sometimes.
I'm not saying that you're not failing, but if we know you did it before it failed, it won't want to stupid.
You know you tried. You know you did everything you could.
If you try, you want to go for stupid, Balaja. You just stupid like that.
Stupid like that.
Wow.
You stupid from the beginning to the end for 9 months. And then when
Yeah.
that woman wants to give birth
For
to
9
that
months.
child, the poor man will not still run to the hospital and come and say, "Oh, my wife has given birth," and the woman will just be looking at him and laughing. Idiot! You don't know this is not your child. So
See,
we
no matter how you say it,
fear God.
Oh,
We need to fear God. That's just it. That's
In fact, fear God, that's it.
we need to
One
fear
house.
God. Mr. Jagudante.
we need to understand that no matter how we look at it from different angles, different standpoints, no matter how we justify this or defend that or go against this or go against that, it's not going to stop. Especially in our society, Africans, the Nigerians, in that our Nigeria, Lagos as a case study, beating of wives will never stop. The pressure is too much. Nearly every woman in Lagos has turned to Olosho. Everybody get price. Level na indifferent.
Yeah.
So everybody get price. Person where they lucky gets a own level of suitors. So that thing gets hierarchy as they talk up.
I don't know where they are.
Eh?
In this Lagos.
Yes. I just don't want to put my hand inside people's private stories. I'm not Instablog or Gistlover. That is why then when they bring these stories to me, I'll be like, you know what? Go and settle it with your family. Settle it amicably. I have people who brought pictures of their wives sending nude to another man somewhere. You know, these are people that people look up to outside as role models. They love them. They post good pictures online, you know, and they're seeing on the WhatsApp of their wife where she's taking pictures of pum-pum, boobs and stuff, sending to another man. Now, how do you explain that? And this is a wonderful woman who will be ready to cut her head for her husband. All the investment of her life.
Ready to cut her head for her husband. But if she's ready to cut her head for her husband, she will not do those things. She's not ready to cut her head for her husband. It's not. That's not the right thing.
More than that for some people. It's not. See, I'm a man. I can cut my head for my wife. That doesn't mean I cannot sleep with another woman. It is a hard truth. And I sleep with another woman that is Agbani Dari Goat, most beautiful in the world. That doesn't mean I won't come back home. So, but the thing is, there is no way I want to do. You see men, when men impregnate somebody outside, they will say, go and get rid of it. I cannot stand it. You cannot bring that back to my house. You cannot do this. They will say, no, I'm having this baby for you. The man does not want to bring the baby home. It is different from a woman bringing the baby home and telling the man that this is your child. If a man impregnates somebody outside, the man will not say, this baby is yours, you gave birth to this baby. It is impossible. So we can't compare both. So cheating is not going to stop by man. Cheating is not going to stop by women. It is going to continue. People should just be smart about it. That's my own point of view.
I think the issue here is that women are savage. You see, you don't know how to do halves. That's the problem with women. They don't know how to do halves. It's either they go in 0 or go in 1,000. Because, and I'm not trying to condone anybody cheating. We have this issue in London a lot. A lot. And you just be like, wow, your Tatiana behavior, you cannot just contain it. You are now mushing around and then you bring out a child that is not supposed to. And when you start mixing children that are not supposed to be in an environment, that the child that they bring home is one that will scatter the whole thing. If you want to be doing your nonsense, and this is me now supporting you doing your nonsense, do your nonsense on your own. Don't bring a child into the dynamics. There's no need for it.
Thank you.
Because you've made that decision to touch your ways around. Don't bring a child.
Come on.
Into it.
Be smart.
Be the hoe you want to be and just enjoy yourself.
Be
There's
a
no
smart
need.
hoe, right?
That's
Be a
what
smart
Obi was
hoe.
saying.
There's no need for you to bring a child. And you see,
Yes.
it's unfortunate. Some women, may God help them. Some
2010.
women.
2010, during the time of BBM, BlackBerry Messenger,
Yeah.
was this very close friend of ours. He would drive down to our house. I used to live in that military area in Woolwich, Gunner Lane area.
Yeah.
He would drive down to our house, stay put for some time around 6 p.m., waiting for the girl's husband to go to work. And the wife from Thamesmead will be pinging my friend saying, "Don't worry, the idiot will soon go to work. I've packed his food. I will buzz you when he leaves." The moment that guy leaves as a security, he will go to work. The girl will say, "He just left. You can be driving down. Just drive down into the alley. I'm not going to wear pants. I'll just come and join you." So she will now come and join the guy in the alley. They will have sex in the car. He will push the chair to the back. She will sit on the thing, and they will enjoy nice, what do they call it?
Rendezvous.
They're exploring. The sweetness of that thing is the fact that they are stealing it. One G shape. The thrill is in the fact that they go into an alley that is dark. They're in the car. The music is coming out from the sound system slowly. There is a thrill. Maybe the husband is not that, there is no ginger. Yes. So guess what? This same guy is also married. But what's my own? He comes to be like, "Oh, wait, what to send message to her?" She said the husband will soon leave. I'm going there. What's my own? I will just knock her. She too is responding. The idiot will soon leave. I've packed his food. He's going to work soon. I won't wear pants. I'll just wear that thing. I'll just pull it up. And the way they were saying it, as a human being that has blood in his veins, you'll be like, the experience, you start relaying it like, what's that film called by Tom Cruise? You want to experience it like, you now look at your wife like, you know what? We will drive somewhere. Let's go and knock somewhere.
Yeah. You and your wife, yes.
Yes, but the truth of the matter is that was somebody else's husband, and that girl was somebody else's wife.
Yeah.
This is London.
Yeah.
Thamesmead.
I hope somebody else is also knocking his wife while he's knocking another man's wife.
Yes. All these married women, they're not cheating with ghosts.
Of course, they're cheating with you.
Yes, they're cheating with married men. So if you're comfortable to be knocking someone's wife in the alley, they will knock yours. Yeah. And in your case, you
on your matrimonial bed. Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. I don't know. I think the moral compass has just been broken. These married men are
they're savage. But the thing is, just before we round up though, like, isn't it funny though? Do you think the men are to blame in any of this? Because come on now, the woman has the first child, she has the second child, and then she has the third child, and none of them are yours, and you still don't sort of have any sort of inclination that one of these or all of these children are not for you? Is there a possibility?
Celia, you see, in life, they said sometimes ignorance could be a bliss, but the person that is being hurt is the last person to know.
No.
Exactly.
If you're a trusting husband, and there's no basis for me to think that these children, there's no reason for me to think these children are not mine. What exactly will make me think this? Unless there's something glaring. For instance, we heard of a child that was unwell and they needed blood, and the father was asked to donate. It was at that point that the man found out that the child was not his. All his life, he thought the child was his. So it's possible. If there's nothing that makes you think the child bears your name, the child, sometimes you see these controversial children, they look like the father.
Of course.
Sure,
let me just put this. This might not really fit into what we're discussing, but I just want to paint a scenario for Celia to understand what men go through sometimes, why we don't see these things. So this my ex that I keep mentioning all this time, that this Init guy came and destroyed the relationship. We were into it for 3 years. And for the 3 years, I didn't have any other person. She made it seemed like she didn't have any other person also, which I totally agree, until the Init guy came on board. So along the line, I found out about the relationship in a very bad way. I don't want to talk about how I found out. But as we're trying, as we're trying to pick the best pieces, fine, it was the end for me. But I wanted to know what I did wrong and where I got it wrong and all those things. And I remember her saying one statement was like, "You are so gullible."
Jesus.
Yeah, that was what she used. Very,
I
you're
would have
so
wounded
gullible.
you.
And the pain.
She was like, "You are so gullible, you're so in love that you couldn't even see
Puppy.
that I was cheating."
Wow,
Yeah,
wow,
it was like, so the same thing happens with the marriage. That, okay, I found that there were times I found messages and I was like, this guy that is always writing, he's my uncle, he lives in London. And I was like, okay. Then there was even times that she gave me the phone to speak to the uncle. And I didn't know that the uncle was the one that was, and there was a time
gullible.
the guy
Was she looking for
the guy
papers?
came from UK. The guy came from UK down to Lagos. I was still in Lagos then. And I was trying to call my girlfriend and he picked up. And I spoke to him and I was hearing the Init accent. I was like, okay, what's happening here? Then suddenly he just said she will call me back. She called me back. I was like, who is that? I was like, but my brother does Yahoo. Don't you know that the Yahoo guys know how to fake London accent? And okay. And I fell for it again. So when we're eventually picking up the pieces to do an appraisal of the relationship so that I can know where I got it wrong. And the word was, you are so gullible. There were so many times you could have caught me, but you didn't get it. So I want to put myself in the position of the husbands of these women that has bastards at home. They may be so much in love with the woman that they don't see all these things. I said something. I said I wouldn't do a DNA test because I so much trust my wife. I love my wife so much. But if I go outside and someone tells me, Funsho, do you know that first child? Because I remember, okay, to be very, very straight, I know when my first child was conceived, the week. I know everything. And I know I traveled to Belgium that same week. So let's say someone now calls me and says, Funsho, do you know that same week when you traveled?
You see what I was saying in the beginning? You see?
Yeah.
You start thinking things.
I trust my wife, I know, but I was like,
I
you
wouldn't
can
say you're
that. But if it's something else, maybe I heard my friend talking about it, my friend now, blah, 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 blah. It's not my business. So long as they're not talking to me. It won't make me go home and tell my wife I want it.
You weren't gullible. You were just a wonderful boyfriend who truly loved his girlfriend.
Loved you.
Because that is how
it happens
demons are created. Don't let anybody kill your love. The same way you love her, give it to your wife like that. That is how it should be. You're just a gentleman who truly loved his girl, but you were unlucky. That doesn't make you stupid or gullible. Right? You're with the right woman now. She's not cheating.
Yeah.
But you were with the gullible girl who thought she was smart. And now she's saying it like, oh, you could have caught me. You could have caught me. You had no reason to be suspecting that. That's what Yori was saying. That's what Yori was saying. Why she won't be happy if you start to suspect her or think, oh, she's doing something wrong. And you're like, oh, I'm going to do a DNA test because I keep seeing you talking to strange people on the phone. I keep seeing you receiving strange text messages. And then is that what makes you not being gullible? So don't let anybody bamboozle you or tell you that you're gullible. You were just a wonderful boyfriend.
Funsho, did that change your perception of how you see women after that experience?
You see, you guys keep saying that I freaky, I this, I that, that. That was the turning point of my life. That was the turning point in my life.
Okay.
Because before that girl, I had 2 other girls and I was very faithful. Not at all. I don't cheat. Okay. But that was the turning point. After that girl,
you just let it out.
Became a bad boy. Anyway, let's bring this to an end. Let's bring this to an end because we can go on and on. I don't know. I just think women, why don't we just do our husbands a favor and just give them the DNA test of their child? Just forget it. It's not a big deal. That's what I'd say. It's not a big deal because I know my husband is the father of my children. And if I know that my husband is not the father, I would just tell him, oh boy, his egg don't know. Let's just leave it like that. You know, people adopt anyway. It still came from me. So it's half yours and half somebody. Period.
Don't say this on Instagram or they will attack you.
I don't really care. Let them attack me. Not today. It's not today that they started. Because at the end of the day, I just feel it's not a big deal. If you know your husband is the father, it's not a big deal. Period. It doesn't mean your husband loves you any less.
Yes.
It doesn't mean anything. But I think it's only fair for a man to know whether he's the father, biological father of a child he's been training for the past 20 years. Period. Because if it's me, I would like to know. I would like to know. If I was a man, I would like to know. And I would also like to know, if I was a man, as I'm a woman, that if my husband has children out there somewhere and I cannot give birth and he's not really bothered because he already has those children, I would also like to know. Do you understand? So let's treat others the way we would like to be treated. But anyway, I know some people might not want to hear this. It is what it is. On that note, we're going to end it. It's been an interesting discussion. Thank you for joining us as usual, and we would see you next week. Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.